People often say life can flip in a single moment, but I never imagined mine would collapse so violently. Just 7 days after my 75-year-old father died in a sudden, devastating accident, when the house was still heavy with silence, a letter arrived that dragged me toward a truth darker than anything I had ever imagined. The envelope looked ordinary, plain, harmless, but inside were 6 old keys and a short, chilling instruction telling me to locate a series of locked boxes and open them one by one. Those simple words pressed on my heart like a weight. Still, I did as it said. With trembling hands, I visited each location, using every key to unlock a different door. And with every click of a lock releasing, another piece of a nightmare truth spilled into my life, each one worse than the last. By the time I reached the end, the world around me felt sharp, merciless, unbearable. I wanted to curl into myself and escape everything. But fear quickly hardened into something far stronger: revenge. Because what I found pointed to one person, someone who had committed something unforgivable. And I needed to uncover every last hidden piece. My name is Lisa Watson. I'm 45. My father was the president of a welfare organization, admired and respected everywhere he went. My mother died when I was an infant, leaving me with no memories of her except a handmade necklace that completed the half-heart piece she once wore. Her half vanished somewhere long ago, and all I had left was the matching piece my father kept safe for me. Growing up as an only child, I eventually married Michael, one of my father's longtime employees, nearly 20 years ago. Everyone around us said he was reliable, kind, and that my marriage to him secured the company's future. I stayed home, passing time with puzzles and riddles, something my father and I always bonded over quietly. Outside, our home looked stable, peaceful. Inside, our marriage was crumbling almost from the beginning. Before the wedding, Michael treated me with softness. But right after those vows were spoken, something inside him turned cold. Whenever he came home, I would greet him gently. "Welcome home, I'll cook something." Only for him to snap. "I'm exhausted. Don't talk to me." If I admitted I felt lonely, he would glare at me like I disgusted him. "Stop acting innocent. It's annoying." His affection disappeared like it had never existed. Conversations about starting a family turned into arguments until eventually I let go of the dream of ever holding my own child. 3 years ago, things worsened. Michael began returning home late, coated in a perfume that wasn't mine. When I finally asked if he was seeing someone, he didn't even blink. "It's work. I go to hostess clubs. Stop nagging." When I pushed a little harder, he slapped me so violently his eyes looked like they belonged to a stranger. "A pampered woman like you should stay out of my affairs. Understand?" I felt trapped. I had never worked, had no independence, and the only person I could rely on was my father. He always told me, "Real trust in business doesn't need alcohol or hostesses." His words made Michael's excuses feel even more suspicious. So I turned to the only other person I trusted, James. My father's close associate, just a year younger than me. He felt like the dependable little brother I never had. He always listened without judgment, always respectful, never stepping over boundaries. My father admired him, and he often visited for work matters. One afternoon, with my heart pounding, I asked, "James, do men really need hostess clubs for business?" He paused before replying, "People work differently these days. Some believe in it, some don't." "Thank you," I whispered. "I just needed to hear something." "If you're ever in trouble, tell me," he said softly. His calm steadiness let me breathe a little again. But that moment of peace didn't last long. A month later, the morning after Michael claimed he had a business trip, I received a call that shattered everything. My father was gone. The police said it was an accident. When I reached the mortuary, he lay still, almost as if he were simply asleep. He looked peaceful, which made everything hurt even more. Soon after, officers arrived with Michael, James, and several executives. Trembling, I begged them to explain. The officer said my father had jumped from a cliff. They found sleeping pills in his system. His car was abandoned nearby, and inside was a typed suicide message. It said he was exhausted, and that he was leaving the company presidency to Michael. The words didn't even feel real. The note wasn't handwritten, but James explained that my father typed most of his documents. The police believed he dulled his thoughts with pills before jumping. No witnesses. No signs of a struggle. Nothing that suggested foul play. James whispered, "I'm sorry," tears clinging to his eyes. Even Michael, who rarely showed emotion, gently held my shoulder as if he truly cared for once. The days after the funeral were chaotic. My father had left countless duties unfinished. Michael immediately stepped into the president's role, and James naturally became his strongest support. Meanwhile, I handled relatives, funeral guests, endless paperwork. I barely had time to breathe. In those moments, I wished desperately for a sibling. Losing both parents as an only child created a hollow ache that nothing could fill. And Michael, he was present physically, but he was never truly there. Then, exactly 1 week after the funeral, another envelope arrived addressed only to me. Inside was a simple note that made my skin crawl. "Read this only where no one can see." I shut my room door and opened it. 6 keys fell into my palm, along with directions to 6 safety deposit boxes scattered around the city. One last slip of paper carried a chilling message. "Open every door. Only then will the truth reveal itself." I always knew my father loved riddles more than anything. Remembering that tiny fact warmed something inside me, even in the middle of my grief. Maybe he left a final message for me. That thought kept echoing in my mind like a heartbeat. Between endless chores, condolence visits, and the heavy exhaustion that follows funerals, I visited each safe deposit box mentioned in the letter. Every time a metal door swung open, my pulse raced harder. And with every box I unlocked, the shock only grew. It was too much. Too unbelievable. I stood there trembling, whispering, "This can't be real." But when I layered the translucent papers together, the truth formed right in front of me. Memories crashed into one another. Fear, confusion, suspicion, everything connected. Tears rolled down my cheeks as the reality settled over me like ice. I couldn't stay still anymore. Even if the truth burned my whole life to ashes, I had to uncover it. A month after my father's funeral, something strange happened. Michael came home earlier than usual. He moved almost awkwardly, like he was practicing kindness for the first time. "Thought you might want a glass of wine," he said, offering me a glass. I stared at him. He had never done that. Ever. "That's unexpected," I murmured. "Oh, James mentioned you like wine." "He gave me this bottle," he replied too casually. My heart tightened. Yes, I liked wine. Yes, James knew. But Michael's sudden effort felt staged, forced. He walked to the kitchen to open the bottle, and every instinct in me screamed that something was wrong. When he came back, he placed the filled glass in front of me. "I have some work to finish. You go ahead and drink it, Lisa." "Thanks," I said softly, standing. "Let me grab some snacks." I hurried to the kitchen, not to get food, but to think, to breathe, to steady myself. When I returned, I lifted the glass. "Cheers." I took a sip. The moment the wine touched my tongue, Michael's eyes narrowed sharply. He was waiting, expecting something. A slow smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. An hour passed. I sat there wide awake. Normal. Calm. Michael's voice cracked. "Nothing? You're not feeling anything at all." "No," I said lightly. "Why? Should I?" His face twisted. "Oh, is it surprising that I'm still awake?" I leaned back, meeting his eyes. "Strange, isn't it?" he snapped. "Stop pretending." "I'm not pretending," I said coolly. "You put sleeping pills in the wine. Then you were planning to drive me somewhere isolated and push me off a cliff. Just like what happened to my father." His entire body froze. The truth was simple. Days earlier, I had gone through his desk, found a bottle of sleeping pills hidden in the back. I had quietly replaced them with harmless supplements and put everything back exactly where it was. So while he thought he was drugging me, he actually served me vitamins. "You rummaged through my things?" he growled. "Those pills were for my insomnia." "I'm done with your lies," I snapped. "Here. Look at this." I laid the letter and 6 old keys on the table. Then the papers. One by one. Thin sheets that looked meaningless alone. But when I placed them together, the hidden message appeared. "The one who killed the president is Michael Watson, and danger is approaching you." Michael's face drained of every drop of color. "Who sent this?" he shouted. A voice answered behind me. "I did." James stepped out from the shadows near the entrance. While I was in the kitchen earlier, I had secretly texted him, asking him to come over and hide. I never believed the suicide, James said quietly, his eyes fixed on Michael. So I began digging. The day after your father-in-law died, I saw you bring a woman into his office. Michael's eyelids twitched. That's when everything made sense, James continued. Your reactions, your behavior. Nothing matched a grieving son-in-law. The truth spilled out in the silence that followed. Michael had murdered my father to seize the presidency of the company. And after that, he planned to eliminate me too. Rage flooded through me. I grabbed Michael's shoulders, shaking. You killed him. And you tried to kill me for power and money. James admitted he didn't have enough evidence to go to the police yet. So he created the puzzle letter to warn me first. Michael barked back in desperation. Why are you believing him? He's lying. He's manipulating you. I inhaled deeply. There's something else you don't know. Something buried for decades. Michael scoffed angrily. Just spit it out. I looked at James, then began. My father fell in love with my mother when she lived in a children's foster facility. His parents hated their relationship. Still they married. Then I was born. Michael rolled his eyes impatiently. But while my father was on a business trip, I continued, voice trembling. His parents forced a divorce behind his back. They threw my mother out. My father never knew the truth. Michael frowned. I thought she died. That was the lie my grandparents spread, I whispered. They told my mother she wasn't worthy of a future president's family. She left in tears, pregnant. Michael froze. Pregnant with another child. I turned toward James. That child is sitting right next to you. My husband gasped. You two are siblings? James nodded. My mother spent her life in sickness and poverty, raising James alone. My father, thinking she betrayed him, never remarried. Yet deep down he couldn't move on. He searched for her for 30 years. When he finally found her, she was bedridden. They reunited. But fate was cruel. She passed away soon after. In those final moments, my father learned the truth. And James learned that the president was actually his father. And as for me, I learned why my mother had always wished one of her children would choose a life that could help others. Something meaningful. Something she never got the chance to have. So he chose to work in the welfare department of the company. James joining the company was completely coincidental, or perhaps fate, or maybe my father Orma, had planned our connection all along. I continued speaking, watching James's eyes well up. My father, Ansa, had once considered promoting me to a high-ranking position and publicly acknowledging our relationship. But I refused. I wanted to build my own life, my own path, without relying on his influence. I didn't want to create a scandal or be accused of favoritism. I wanted to succeed on my own terms. Yet despite rejecting my father's offer, James's exceptional abilities eventually made him the president's most trusted right-hand man, without a single trace of nepotism. And finally, the truth had come full circle. On my mother's monthly Memorial Day, the president would always visit me to share memories about her. He had planned to come the day before his fatal accident. Yes, I confirmed. He was supposed to visit, but for some reason he never showed up. No call. No message. It was unlike him. According to James, my father always notified us if plans changed. His sudden silence felt unnatural. So James dug deeper and uncovered evidence pointing to my own husband as the culprit. That's why he sent that coded letter, James said calmly. It's all nonsense. Where's the proof he's the president's son? Who would believe such a ridiculous story? Michael snapped, anger blazing in his eyes. Naturally, I didn't blindly trust James at first. But what I had seen was irrefutable. Can you show it to them? I asked quietly. James pulled a necklace from his pocket, one that had been lost years ago. When placed together with the piece I had, it formed a heart. A custom-made gift from our parents. A symbol only the president's true children possessed. Is this just a coincidence? I asked. Doesn't this prove James is my brother? People lie, Michael muttered. There's no guarantee. If you're that doubtful, we can do a DNA test, I replied. There are plenty of my father's belongings for accurate testing. My confidence unsettled him. Suddenly he crumpled a thin piece of paper. My father's coded message. Why did he go through such elaborate trouble? Michael shouted. Because he knew you wouldn't understand it, James answered. And he knew you'd pass it on to someone else. He also knew his daughter me loved puzzles. He trusted I would figure it out. This was exactly the kind of riddle my father used to create. He would always jot down mysterious ideas, saying he wanted his daughter to solve a big puzzle one day. And through that message my brother and I uncovered my husband's crime. We slowly searched Michael's belongings and found the evidence. A fabricated suicide note on his computer. And through his rideshare history, proof of a one-way trip from the accident site back home. You loaded the bicycle into the car, pushed my father off the cliff and rode the bike home. I whispered, horrified. That day, you told me you were on a business trip. But James found out there was no such assignment. I stared at him, my voice trembling. You married me for money and status. James revealed that a woman Michael had secretly brought into the president's office was actually a hostess from a car club. James went undercover, earning her trust. She spilled everything. Why kill my father at all? I demanded. I couldn't wait for the old man to die, James explained. Michael tried many times to force him into retirement, but your father refused. Michael was too impatient to wait. Rage flared inside me, deep, burning and unforgiving. We'll report everything to the police, I said. You didn't report it earlier because you still care about me, right? Michael cried, desperate. His excuses were pathetic. Even James was stunned into silence. Yes, I admitted. Going to the police would have been the right way, but I wanted to face you myself. I wanted to avenge my father. Michael broke down completely, sobbing, trembling, apologizing, but neither James nor I intended to forgive him. What you've done is unforgivable, I said. Prepare for despair. With James by my side, we turned Michael over to the police. During interrogation, he confessed. With legal intervention, the divorce was finalized. 500 million won in compensation was paid, mostly by his siblings. Now Michael sits behind bars, a hollow, broken version of the man he pretended to be. Even the woman he had an affair with demanded $110,000 in damages. Meanwhile, James, now publicly recognized as the president's biological son, has taken over as the new president of the company. His achievements are finally acknowledged. And as for me, I now assist him with the administrative side of the company. Together as brother and sister, we will protect and honor the legacy our father fought so hard to build.